So one more time, what's your name?
My name is Sital.
And when and where were you born?
Okay, so am I to
No,
look?
don't talk to me. Yeah.
Okay. I was born 1958, one of the original people from Vancouver. I still reside in Vancouver, so I'm aging and putting my age to my date here, but I'm okay with that.
What was life growing up like in Vancouver in the 60s?
There was a lot of changes. We began with a very minority Indian community that integrated extremely well with the mainstream community, which was Anglo-Saxon at the time
Mm-hmm.
in general. Um, Even my grandfather encouraged us to participate with the local churches, and we attended Sunday school
Oh, wow.
to be exposed to having a larger insight as to how the community congregated on Sundays. So we would have a broader perspective with our neighbors and friends.
That's amazing. And your house was also a center place for people to come to and to have Indian food.
They would.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Well, my mom, she prepared Indian food, and we enjoyed even spices that my mom and dad and grandparents brought from India. And now I don't think seeds are possible to bring, but we had dille, we had mungrian, um, we have hollow. We still have it in our garden. There was even those opium poppies that are spreading all through the neighborhood, but that was never the intention. But, you know, people didn't say anything then, and it was more for beautifying the garden, having novelty. My dad has Dukabor beans.
Yeah.
People don't even have those things, and they're amazed that we can grow so many different varieties of food. And
Yeah.
my dad has the green thumb,
Yeah.
so we still enjoy fusion. Like we had integrated families now, mixed marriages. So my nephew, he will prepare a smoked salmon feta cheese samosa.
Mm.
And we will also do a number of things. We will have hollow with my brother-in-law who does hunting, and he will bring um, moose or elk and combine the combinations.
Mm.
So I think our kitchen is unique, and there's more uniquenesses because whoever comes here then adds another idea and then decides to create a new dish, and we go and
That's amazing.
enjoy it
That's
there.
amazing. Now, you used to, in the basement, you used to sell food as well too, in pots and pans. Is that right?
We did.
Tell us about that. Yeah.
Well, I don't know exactly how my dad, he had a very deep friendship with GS Teja Limited. He was the pioneer family who was, I believe, one of the first families who had spices here in Vancouver. And there was a partnership. He had a lot of connections with Chinatown and even Woodward's food floors, and we would see some of his foods stocked on the shelves. So somehow, my dad, we were in South Vancouver, and there was no access to the food. So my dad began to place some of the groceries in our basement for a very small business. I can't believe how many people learned about that, and they would knock on the door without a phone and just say, we'd like to buy spices. So they would come down around the basement and they would select a variety of different types of spices. We had Caucasian people. Some people were in my classroom. I was surprised to find out that that was the parents of some of the kids, that they would enjoy trying different type of spices even in the 60s.
Amazing. Great. And tell us one quick story then about the blueberry picnic as well as you guys did when you were younger.
Oh, Can I go back to?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, even today, like my dad, he would have pots and pans that only we could make large dala back then. So those were not even heard of back then. I mean, so my dad had special pots and pans so people could cook the food. So they would come here. And even today, even in 2000, we would see some of the pioneer families that are walking around on the streets. And this is the truth. They would come and they would say, hey, aren't you guys the Dala Wale? Well, you guys were the Patile Wale. So it's really quite funny. And we would chuckle, but it's amazing how far back people still remember that thought.
Great. Absolutely great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And
yeah, and then the blueberry question. Yeah.
Oh, the blueberries.
Yeah.
There was blueberries in Richmond. We would go even to Abbotsford and Langley to pick raspberries. There was trucks that would come at 4 o'clock in the morning on Main and 57th with just a tarp on the back. And you just lift the back and we'd sit on those apple wooden cart boxes. No seat belts, diesel fuel blowing in and out, and people would we had no idea where the people were going to drive us to. We were in grade 4, grade 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. We did have an adult who would come with us, but when we got into our teens, there was no stopping anybody from just getting up and going out to Abbotsford. Some of the kids brought transistor radios. There was 12-hour days, 14-hour days back then. We didn't always want to work, It was also a social network because our kids didn't go out then, and that was a place to go out and, talk to the kid over the row of raspberries. And I remember one time there was 3 wasps that stung my ear out to here, and there was no work safe BC rules. My ear was out to here, but we just finished our shift and we came home and the ear was getting longer and so was the day. But I think we got, if anything else, free antioxidants for back then, and I think we were just healthier kids. Yeah. Because we were able to do it. And the long of the short of the story is, if all else fails, if suddenly there's a crash in the stock market, if suddenly there's a depression here, I know at 56 years of age, I can get out there at 4 o'clock in the morning and pick berries. I have no qualms about that. And I'm proud to say that I can spend 12 hours and get the job done because we were actually taught as kids to work hard and earn a living the old-fashioned way. I'm disappointed with the community today where people just get off the plane and snap their fingers and expect, free bus passes and free health spa passes and free, everything that the government has to offer when somebody hasn't even put a red penny into the system. Yes.
Great.